Started by three broke friends in San Diego, and now one of the most popular beach towel brands in America, but SandCloud is missing out on millions by not optimizing their Amazon strategy. All we talk about on this channel is how to add at least $1 million to your brand's yearly revenue using Amazon. We'll be condensing the lessons that we've learned from managing over $200 million on Amazon last year alone, simply to help you make more money. And SandCloud is the perfect case study of a successful brand leaving significant revenue on the table. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly how they could grow their Amazon sales by 41% with specific actionable strategies, the same approaches we've used with brands like Ridge Wallets, Hexclad, BK Beauty, Obvi, and so many others. And you can use these strategies for your brand as well. Without further ado, let's hop in. All right, guys, so let's hop into SandCloud's breakdown and how three broke friends in San Diego made a crazy, thriving beach towel brand and how Amazon helped grow their sales by 41%. Pretty cool. And first of all, a little bit about myself. I've been selling on Amazon for over 10 years, started my own brand from scratch when I was a waiter in a restaurant. That led to a multiple seven-figure exit, and I was one of the first people to actually ever sell their company to Thrasio, this crazy e-commerce giant. They paid me multiple seven figures, which was a life-changing deal, and then crashed my brand. I learned a whole lot in the process, and I've since built a team of now 80 plus people, Amazon experts all over the world, and we've worked with just the best brands in the world, like Ridge Wallets, Hexclad, Walkies, Woobles, BK Beauty, Obvi, you name it. It's been pretty cool. And just to share as well, because all this is about how you can apply these strategies to your brand. Okay, so just in the last 30 days, we've managed over $41 million across our portfolio. And in the month of March 2025, the brands that we manage sold over $43 million. Those same brands sold less than $34 million the previous year. So we're just up crazy year over year on a very large portfolio. So the things that you'll be learning in here, apply them to your brands, hope it makes you a ton of money. And if you just execute on 10%, of what we're going to talk about here, you're really going to see significant results. This is how to do everything best in class, every step of the way, whatever it takes to scale an Amazon brand. If you're interested in more information about how we run Amazon, you just want to learn more for your own brand, join the Amazon Operators community. It's 100% free, and we've got tons of amazing content geared towards high-level sellers, people that are interested in really having a seven-figure Amazon channel. So let's hop into SandCloud. So this is such a cool story. So there's these three friends, and they got fired from their corporate insurance sales job. Brandon, Steven, and Bruno, they all quit their jobs and they moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in San Diego. They had no job, very little money, and they spent their time at the beach, and that just sparked their idea for a beach towel. Now that might seem like a really difficult category to differentiate yourselves with, but they really did an incredible job. And it's just like an amazing story. They were driving Uber. They were using their personal credit cards to scale their business. They had a failed Kickstarter and a high interest loan of $10,000 from Wells Fargo and a dream. And they figured out how to do it. So very cool. Love to hear those stories. And I had a similar story myself. I was a waiter in a restaurant for 8+ years and just had the dream of selling on Amazon, and it's led to a huge business from here. So I really resonate with their story. And so it's so cool, you really got to be scrappy in the beginning parts of your business. And they literally got traction originally by manually DMing thousands of college-age women on Instagram, especially in sororities. And this guerrilla style marketing helped get their first $400,000 to $500,000 in sales, which is pretty significant and a very cool way to start off your business. Then in 2017, after they applied for 4 straight years, they actually got featured on Shark Tank, which was incredible. And the pitch on the show. And so then in 2017, after they were scrapping for a while, after 4 straight years of applying, they actually got featured on Shark Tank, which is just an incredible way to blow up your business. They did their pitch and they actually won an investment, and they got $200,000 in exchange for 15% of their business. They used that money to improve their website and to buy tons of inventory because this type of business, it takes money to scale and you need a lot of inventory. And that really took off. At the time in 2017, they were at around the $7 million per year mark and have since scaled to a reported $42 million. So that obviously worked out very well for them. And so it's really important to differentiate yourself and stand out from the crowd. And that's exactly what they do, right? So SandCloud really points out that they're very mission-led. 10% of all their profits go to marine conservation nonprofits. And they weave in their brand story into every aspect of their business, all their products and campaigns that they run. And they really tailor their brand to a beach conscious lifestyle. And they really focus on sustainability and just like super high quality products, essentially. So they've got Turkish cotton towels that are sand resistant and fast drying. That's perfect for the beach. And they've got success in one area, which has allowed them to expand in others like glass water bottles, metal straws, and other sustainable apparel. So I really like what they've done. Very, very cool. In fact, I want some of their products. And now let's talk about their off Amazon presence. You know, I always talk about this, that Amazon is a bottom of funnel marketplace. People are not really going to Amazon to be educated, right? So you're not just generating this top of funnel awareness to educate people about your brand. You need to do that beforehand if you want to really differentiate yourself. And SandCloud is crushing it when it comes to that. For a product-based business to have 882,000 followers on Instagram, that's huge. And they really have their core audience dialed in. 95% female, primarily between the ages of 18 and 30. So they know how to talk to their audience, and they share images of their, their buyer personas, the people actually purchasing their products on Instagram. And that's just really incredible to see the amount of engagement. TikTok, they're crushing as well. 200,000 plus followers. YouTube, 8.75 thousand. Very cool stuff. And they got their Shark Tank thing, their Shark Tank video there on YouTube, of course. That's cool to see. And let's talk about what that looks like for their branded search volume. When you're generating that top of funnel awareness, people are going to start searching for your brand. So SandCloud beach towels, 11,700 searches per month. SandCloud bath towel, SandCloud poncho, SandCloud towel, blanket, etc. These are all of the keywords that are branded keywords leading to purchases for their brand. And so basically a brand like this that has huge brand awareness, is crushing it, phenomenal products. These are the brands that we thrive with the most. So, I really created our agency to offer like a done-for-you service essentially for these premium brands where we handle every single aspect of Amazon, from their supply chain management, inventory forecasting, pay-per-click management, conversion rate optimization, because most Amazon sellers, they make their listing once, set it, forget it, and then they wonder why their PPC is not performing well, why they can't achieve good organic ranking. Well, it's because you need to have a listing that crushes it and converts better than the market average. And we offer a done-for-you service where we handle all of these things for our client. SandCloud would be a phenomenal client to run, and we're going to talk about exactly what we would do for their brand and these same strategies that you can apply to your own brand. You can do this yourself, and I'm going to share. I have no secrets to hide. We're going to share exactly what we do and how we really understand the data of Amazon, the metrics that we look at to move the needle in a profitable way. So in the context of doing this breakdown of the video, I love sharing just all of the best-in-class tools that we use every step of the way. We're not associated with any of these tools. We're just sharing what we like to use. Smart Scout is incredible. All right. And if you're thinking about selling on Amazon, if you're not there, look at your top competitors in the space and you can basically see exactly what they're doing, their average price point, amount of sales that they're getting, their ratings, and their growth, and the amount of products that they have. Okay. Just in this last month, SandCloud doing 220,000. Now this might have been from March's numbers or February. So this is probably a very seasonal product, right? It's a beach towel. And so I'm expecting for the summer months to be multiple times. And here's a list of all the products in order that they're selling. So there's a very wide range of many different products that they're selling and doing really well for, okay? And that does a breakdown. Here's their top listing. And so what I see right away, I think they can really improve that main image. Maybe you have some sand elements. Maybe you're stacking those towels differently. I see the lines are not necessarily straight throughout it. You can play around with this a lot. And it's just ranked number 47 in beach towels. So it's a huge company, but I think they have a lot of improvements that they could do, starting off with their main images. Got to crush it with the hero image. That's one of the most important things. All right, now let's look at like the greater subcategory market share. So we got beach towels, bath towel sets, and hair drying towels. For SandCloud, just their estimated monthly revenue here for that brand specifically, 176,000. Bath towels are doing 37K, and hair drying towels just 7K. Here's the percentage of the whole market they own. So they got a 4.3% market share. They're spending about 5.6% of all of the ad dollars being spent. I don't know how SmartScale gets that number in particular, but it's really cool to know, to understand who's spending the money. Okay, and basically like gauging the level of competition that you'll be going against. Got all these very high level metrics and beyond. Love this tool. Also just showing like the different marketplaces they sell in. 99% of all their sales are in the United States. It's actually not very hard to start a brand in Canada, which is a colder marketplace. So maybe they're not gonna be selling as many beach towels, but nevertheless, they still will sell some there. Now they're probably using what used to be called the NARF program, where you could just click a button essentially, and then that will allow people in Canada and Mexico to buy their products. It's actually not that hard to set up a business to get inventory sent to Canada though, so that could be some low-hanging fruit that they should consider. And let's look at this sales trend over the last 12 months. Of course, summer is the peak for this product, but this is very interesting to know for your own brand to understand what you should expect and how you should plan for inventory forecasting and peak events, right? So interesting, they're growing here. And what I'm seeing here in January, well, they actually did pretty good. That's cool to see. And obviously from September until early December, that's definitely like the low time of year, but then they did pretty well to start off of the year and it's trending back down. They also branched out to some non-seasonal products. Obviously that was an important part of their business. And so they've got the bath towels as well here and hair drying towels. They're only ranked at a number 150 and their listing looks pretty good overall. You can always do more things to make that main image pop out. We'd want to consider that. In fact, we always make multiple versions of every hero image. We want to do A/B testing with that. So definitely softening those spikes for peak events would be very helpful for that brand, so they've got that cash flow throughout the year. This also just shows as well the growing revenue and the bath towel sets that they've got throughout the year. So beach towels here, bath towels did nearly 50% of that amount of inventory. The hair drying towels, just 4,000. So they've got, that product needs to really be pushed in order for them to really make their brand overall less seasonal. And they've got a very consistent average order value of $62. So probably they've got some really good margins to play with, which is amazing. It sucks having a business with a very small profit margin. So we want to be really aware, if you have that margin to play with, then you can, all right. And this also shows, they haven't really been launching any new products or new ASINs in the last 12 months. So they've got the same 74 products for over a year. It always helps to launch new products. And we always help brands do that, map out a plan to get those reviews, reverse engineer all the top competitors, figure out which keywords you have to rank for, and all the best in-class practices to make sure that your products are set for success. So now let's analyze the subcategory of beach towels. Here's another tool that I absolutely love. Everybody knows Jungle Scout, everyone knows Helium 10, but very few people in the United States know of Cellar Sprite, which I think has like 1 million users in China, and it is by far the best data analysis tool for anything you would ever want to know about your brand or your competitors' brands on Amazon in the greater subcategories. And it just chops it down, breaks it down in so many different ways. It's very cool to see. So let's analyze the top 10 sellers in the subcategory of beach towels, which, it does things like it will grab the top 100 performers in any subcategory, how many units are being sold, average monthly revenue of the top listings, number of new products that make up that top 100 list. Are they FBA? Are they FBM? Etc. Average price of the top 10 sellers is just $17. So the challenge and the opportunity with SandCloud is that they've got premium priced products. That Turkish cotton, I'm sure, is significantly more expensive than what the vast majority of competitors are using, and probably the experience that people have with the products is also far superior. So it's not a bad thing, it's a really good thing. In the last 6 months, there's only 7 new competitors. Of this, top list of 100 brands, $17 price point, 4.6 stars. So reviews or, quality of reviews is not an issue. Average revenue in the last 30 days is $20,000. Very cool to see. And here's what the top 10 people look like though. Average units is 7,000 units sold a month, and everyone's doing 6 figures a month. That's making the top 10. Really big TAM on Amazon for beach towels. SandCloud is a top 5 term that people use when shopping on Amazon for beach towels. That's crazy. And this is also something I love that will break down what are all the most important keywords for the brands and how those trend over time. Look at all these spikes. Spike and decline, spike and decline. And here we go. We've got beach towels, oversized, beach towels, beach towel, SandCloud beach towel. That's very cool. They have that branded search volume. Beach towels, oversized clearance. That's not going to be for SandCloud. Sales trends, May to July, obviously. So we're coming into peak season. And this is a brand that I would love to work with as they come into peak season, so you can really make the most out of it. You know, if you're coming into peak season, you have to have all of the best tools, all of the best strategies to fully capitalize. And a little bit of information on search volume for Turkish beach towel, which that's highly relevant search term. SandCloud would and should crush it for that. I'd be very curious to see how their pay-per-click is performing when it comes to that. So let's see, where is SandCloud currently in this breakdown of the top 54 brands and who's making all of the purchases here. So Ant Funny, well, that's a silly name. They're making the majority of the sales. Number 2 here, we got Widownin. A lot of those names are kind of strange. I wouldn't expect that. They're probably just an Amazon only brand, not necessarily like a D2C style brand with premium products like SandCloud. I also love this breakdown seller Sprite because it's showing, this is an indication of the level of skill from all of the competitors. So only 53% of all the competitors have premium A+ content, which really increases the conversion rate of your listing, and video. That's a low number. And only 14% of the new products have A+ in video. So that breaks it down very well, understanding the level of competition. Also, the origin of the seller is really important. And 50%, this is actually a very high number, 50% of the sales are being made from US sellers, 43% from China, 5 of those in the United Kingdom, Turkey, and India there. So oftentimes with sellers based in China, they're really willing to work for smaller margins, and it's a kind of a race to the bottom. It's very competitive with pricing. They want to have a high sales velocity, lower margin style business, which can be pretty difficult to go against. 46% of sales. Okay. And then also interesting to note, this shows like of all of the sellers based upon how long they've been selling on Amazon, what percentage of the sales are they making. So sellers that have been on Amazon for more than 3 years are making actually 46% of all of the sales. So the established listings, probably with lots of reviews, they've got the organic rank, they're controlling it. But also to note, products that launched within the last year are getting about 22% of the market. So it's just a very interesting way to break it down by price point, by how long they've been selling, by the quantity of reviews that they're making. And in this case, 63% of all the sales are going to people that have over 500 reviews. And if you have below 4.3 stars, you ain't making no sales. So it looks like 78% of all of the sales are going to people that are 4.3 stars and above. And realistically, that just means that most people are reviewing these products with great ratings, right? Like as long as the towel is not arriving ripped. And I bet SandCloud, especially since it's kind of a sand-resistant product, probably has really excellent reviews, okay? Also, here's the main price point, $10 to $20. They're getting the majority of the sales. SandCloud's gonna be up here though. You know, they're about $60. It's a premium price product, but hopefully they have the margin to play with. Okay, and now let's really do a deep dive analysis on all of the search volume that's coming in for these different major keywords. So Turkish beach towel is a really big keyword. This keyword is the #1 search term for SandCloud's top products. So we can kind of do what's called a reverse ASIN search. We put in their main ASIN, and it's gonna show all the most important keywords for their brand. So Turkish beach towel. There's a lot of search volume coming in there. SandCloud beach towel, doing great as well, has 11,700 searches. That's 1/3 of all the search volume compared to the main non-branded keyword. Large beach towel, SandCloud, another branded term, SandCloud beach towel, SandCloud poncho. That's a lot of branded search volume coming in for SandCloud, which is really cool to see. Next, here's one of our favorite tools. This is an overview section of the top 6 listings plus SandCloud in the space. And this is Data Dive. So of these 6 plus 7, including SandCloud, there's $1 million a month in sales being generated with a median reviews of over nearly 1,500 reviews in total, fulfillment fees, countries that they're located in, sizing tiers, search volume of all of these keywords that we'll be getting into, and a distribution of all the keyword search volume. Beach towel, obviously #1. Beach towel is plural, #2. Beach blanket, slightly different. Turkish beach towel, still really big there. And we've got some SandCloud branded search volume as well. Brands, page 1 dominance. Lane Linen, they're crushing it. SandCloud is doing really well, but Bay Laurel, Ant Funny, we want to see what they're doing as well to fully take advantage of all of the data. We want to see their best-in-class strategies and iterate and improve upon that to make more sales for ourselves. So this part is fascinating. SandCloud scores weak and very weak for SEO. So their listings are just really not optimized, especially from when it comes to all of their keywords and how they're building out their titles, bullet points, descriptions. Okay, so let's have a good look. In this particular product, there's 8 variations. People like it, 4.6 stars. I think the main image is not very good. I think they have a big opportunity to increase that. And it's interesting. So obviously these are branded search volume here. Turkish beach towel. Wow. SandCloud's only ranking number 27, which means they're not on page 1 probably, depending on the search results. If you're looking on a computer, something like that, they're either at the top of page 2 or bottom of page 1. Obviously, they're ranking number 1 for their branded search terms. Sand towel, sandproof beach towel. That's also them. They're only ranking number 33. Huge opportunity there. So they want to consider that. And let's see who's very strong. The Bay Laurel. We need to see what they're doing. So Bay Laurel, way cheaper, but they're doing 170,000 in sales just in this last month. Very strong. They're ranking very well for all of their keywords, including SandCloud's branded search volume. So that's very interesting. There's 61 branded search terms. That's over 107,000 searches that are occurring. That includes SandCloud, which is amazing. So of course SandCloud needs to benefit from that, but then we're going to have to win those other highly relevant keywords like Turkish beach towel and those others as well. And so we can find out who's playing the game best. So let's see the keywords where they're not showing up on page 1 for generic search terms. They're non-brand search terms. Turkish beach towel. Sand towel, Turkish beach towel, 52. That's a huge opportunity for them. Turkish beach towel, sand towels, etc. Wow, there's a lot of opportunity. They're actually not ranking really well for any of the non-branded search terms, which are really highly relevant. Who is? Bay Laurel, of course. Ant Funny. Now, these guys are cheap, but there's a way to beat them. Lane Linen, their keyword ranking is not as strong, but it's way better than SandCloud. But that's what we want to do is we want to reverse engineer these guys and see how the PPC performance is for SandCloud for these search terms here as well. So that's what we want to focus on. And this gives you the map, gives you the roadmap. So if you have to win in this category, these are the keywords you have to go after. Let's talk about what we would do to optimize their listings. This is also a section in Data Dive, the tool that we love, we use all the time to make highly converting listings that the Amazon algorithm loves. So essentially creates what's called a master keyword list that consists of the keywords that we were just looking at. It analyzes the top competitors to see what their ranking juice would be. Lane Linen, Wet Cat, Bay Laurel, Gino Vega, these guys are all crushing it, and we want to take from the best. So if we were to create this title, SandCloud Beach Towels, as seen on Shark Tank, we want to make that association. And maybe they can make that association throughout the listing as well. In fact, we have like 3 or 4 Shark Tank brands that we've worked with as well before, and it always helps to put that Shark Tank logo on the listing. People love to see that. Beach blanket, Turkish beach towels, oversized, pool towels, travel towel, quick dry towel, Turkish towels, oversized. Boom. That's going to give us the most amount of ranking juice possible. And it will improve monthly searches by 900,000. That's really amazing to see. And as we talk about here, we want to see as seen on Shark Tank for social proof. That always looks good. Woobles was a brand that we helped take from 0 to over 10 million in just 1 year, which was pretty amazing, as seen on Shark Tank. I highly recommend they do that, whether they choose to work with us or not. I would love to help take their brand to the next level on Amazon, and I think that they should include that in their brand. We also include like the back-end keywords that they should use for their brand to help crush it. And if they're watching this video, just copy and paste that as well for themselves, and they should see a significant increase in all of their searches and organic ranking. This is also a view that I love within Data Dive. It's called the Deep Dive section. And if you just collapse all, it will show you everyone's listings and how they're doing that. And then this shows their sales. And we want to look at who's got the best quality listings. And so what I learned is, Amazon sellers, they usually just make their listing once, they set it, forget it, and then they wonder why their PPC sucks, why they can't get increase their organic ranking, and it feels like they're swimming upstream. But what I learned really by working with so many D2C brands is that the best people in D2C are making infinite iterations of their ads, which they're spending a lot of money for on Meta, and then the landing page is the same thing. They're making tons of iterations, and they're constantly testing and scaling the winners. So Amazon sellers don't do that, right? And so what we have found that is just working incredibly well for us is to make multiple versions of the hero image, multiple versions of the image stack, and then use Data Dive to, of course, make sure that the listing is completely optimized when it comes to SEO, and we just keep on testing. We use a tool called Jungle Ace to do A/B testing, and if you could just increase your conversion rate by a few percentage points, you're going to see your ad dollars become much more efficiently spent. You can scale that more in your organic rankings increase, and that's the name of the game for success on Amazon. So it's funny, I'm not seeing anything too impressive. This listing, Lane Linen, I'm not very impressed by that listing. Wet Cat, I like their listing a little bit more. Now we can see what their sales are. Now price is a big component in that, but we want to explore the different main images that potentially we could use to increase it. SandCloud here, 1,700 sales compared to 8,000 up here with Lane Linen. Not bad, but I also see that they don't really they could incorporate their buyer persona in the listing much more. Like they're not really having, like this one, for example, beach gift, something like that. And we usually recommend doing one benefit per image. We can talk about that more as well. One of my favorite tools that we're using is an Amazon tool called Product Opportunity Explorer. And what Product Opportunity Explorer can do is really break down all the most important motivations for buying based upon competitors' reviews in the category, okay? So 16% of all reviews in this category, in the positive sense, mentioned soft feel. That's incredibly important. And how important the color is. So we want to incorporate those things. And here's like extremely soft. It's so soft. This is what people said, and it summarized everything. The towels are nicely colored. Colors of towel. Love the colors of the towel. We want to mention that. Feel, texture, mentioning things about the size, top impact on the star rating. So we want to structure the listing based around that. All the different topics that they mentioned. Soft feel. Top 25% products in the niche. Recommended that. Here it is over time. Top impact on negative reviews. Thickness. Not as thick as I had hoped for. I was afraid they're not thick enough. Or they are thick. Okay? Not quite as thick as I had hoped. Thin towel, thin towel. So if this is too thin, people don't like that. Thin material. 22% people mentioned that for the negative reviews. That's an important thing. We want to highlight that. These different purchase triggers. And people really want that Turkish cotton. It's got a premium feel and perception. Positive feature impact on units sold. This is all within Product Opportunity Explorer. How cool is this? Fabric, Turkish cotton. Boom, 75%. Different colors people liked. Maybe we scale those instead. Negative feature impact on units sold. Okay. Different fabrics. Okay. Or there's another tool as well, very cool one called GigaBrain. You know, Reddit is like such a hub on the internet where like everything is literally there. And so GigaBrain can analyze Reddit essentially and figure out everything. What customers are saying when buying beach towels. Material and absorbency, size and portability, durability, longevity, versatility and multifunctionality, price and value. And so we want to take these main things and incorporate them throughout the listing. And then use AI to create beautiful images, right? That are sure to convert. So image number one, we would propose luxuriously soft feel. The benefit, which we do one benefit per image, feels super soft. Feature, brushed microfiber fabric that stays soft after washing, okay? And then we have an image prompt, which we can make these even more thorough, but this should just give us an example. Thick and comfy, soaks up water fast. And then we can use ChatGPT and make beautiful examples of the listings so well. And right now, ChatGPT 4.0, look at that, the thickness component. That's a really cool, I like this image a lot. Because, in fact, I think that they would crush it with this image if thickness is incredibly important, as we've already proven. We want to make sure people are well aware of that. That's a huge buyer motivation. And ChatGPT 4.0 really gets the text right. So we want to make sure, though, we have the right typography, of course. But this is just a very quick example of incorporating the most important buying motivations into the listing. So now let's talk about what we would do from a PPC standpoint. this is going to break down SandCloud's PPC dollars and how they're being spent. A lot of branded search volume. Of course, that's important, but at the same time, we want to make sure they're not overspending there. Turkish beach towel. This is very cool data that's just showing roughly how much they could be spending on these most important search terms. And we'll talk about exactly how to build out these campaigns. So using DataDive, it actually makes it very easy. We looked at the master keyword list previously, and essentially we want to make exact match campaigns on the highly relevant, high search volume keywords, exact match type. And this is what we would propose. Here's the different phrase and broad campaigns. For instance, sand towel, exact phrase, broad. We'd have different cost per clicks we would target for each of those. Also, we can target generic keywords with cheaper cost per click to keep customer acquisition profitable, of course. We don't want to be just scaling and losing money, of course. And DataDive here as well, this is not 100% accurate, but this is what Amazon suggests, is that this would be the cost per click. So when you know your margin, you know your conversion rate, and you know your cost per click, you can simply figure out how many clicks can you afford to profitably acquire a customer. And we want to use every methodology of spending with pay-per-click possible, but you just got to know your margins and be very wise. And we have a phenomenal pay-per-click department. Director of advertising is incredible, and the strategies that we've built out using our tool of choice, Scale Insights, to really make sure that we're extremely targeted with every single keyword and that we're allocating budgets very wisely. And so in summary, top 10 sellers in beach towels have an average revenue of $117,000 a month. And we're coming into peak season, that number's gonna grow. So everyone in the top 10 has a 7-figure business. SandCloud has a very strong brand equity, but their top listing is on the lower side of $83,000 a month, suggesting a 41% opportunity to increase their revenue. The top sellers are priced around $17. SandCloud's obviously premium price. We don't want them to match that, but we don't want them to match that price, right? But premium price products benefit in an incredible way by running deals and promotions that will increase their conversion rate, ultimately increase their organic ranking and make their ad dollars more efficient. So if you're a premium price product on Amazon, best deals, which are 7-day deals, you can run those once a month. For 7 days, you're gonna have a badge on that listing. I do recommend doing that as often as possible. That's really gonna help, especially if they have the margin for it. You gotta have the margin. They also wanna optimize listing images around Amazon's product opportunity explorer data like we went into. And they're gonna wanna target those generic search terms with cheaper cost per clicks to profitably expand monthly sales. And we looked at that. We looked at these top competitors, all of the keywords that they're ranking for. SandCloud is a super premium brand. I know their products crush it, but we've got to convey that in the Amazon listing as clearly and concisely as possible because people make buying decisions very quickly. And that's what we want to do and help convey so quickly that this is the best product that the customer can buy, get them to click buy now, and scale their brand. So if you're the owners of SandCloud, listen to this. We'd love to work with you. Peak sales are coming up, and we are truly best in class when it comes to full service Amazon management, every aspect of it. And if you're a brand owner listening to this as well, I'm not associated with any of these tools. But they're the best things that we use for our business. And it's truly just about using all of the best data at your disposal and then making wise decisions on it. I'm going to be making more of these breakdown videos regularly, so please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel about it, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.